the game coverage on Monday. I thought it was pretty cool. Dane and I were both out at some Central Illinois games. I think that might have been the first time since I've been around that we had two Central Illinois games in one night that we were covering, so I thought that was awesome. But I was over at St. Joe Ogden, and they were playing Pleasant Plains. St. Joe won 7-3. My MVP of that game was Bryson Houchins. He was a starting pitcher for them, up to 86 on the mound. He went 2 for 3 at the plate with a double, 2 RBIs, and then on the mound he threw 5 innings and struck out 3. And kind of the turning point of that game was really the bottom of the second when St. Joe scored 4 runs to give them kind of an early 5-0 lead that kind of basically just kind of won the game at that point for them, essentially. They started out the inning with a hit by pitch and then a walk. They eventually scored on a wild pitch, and then another on a single from Will Haley and another from Bryson Houchins, double to left field. And then the prospect spotlight, I've got a couple, but one of them is going to be my prospect of the week. But just a spotlight from the game that I want to mention is Logan Rosenthal. He's the center fielder and bats leadoff for the Spartans. He's a left-handed hitter. Played a good center field. I liked the actions during in and out. It just really moves around well. He's an athlete, you can tell. And then I liked his at-bats. A left-handed hitter with some strength in the frame. It's compact. Took really good ABs, was fouling off pitches. The stat line probably would not show great for him. Just I think he maybe had a hit or 1 for 3 in the game if I remember right. But I just really liked it. He's an uncommitted 2026. He's an athlete with some strength and a guy that we've kind of continued to see just trend up, which is always good as well. But yeah, St. Joe Ogden won that one 7-3 in a big kind of highly touted two-way matchup. I would say 2 of the better records in that two-way class.
All right, I went to East Peoria versus Washington in East Side. Washington ended up winning this game 1-0. My MVP was Carter Prina, who threw a complete game shutout with 10 strikeouts while allowing only 5 hits and 2 walks. At the plate, he went 1 for 3 with an RBI. On the mound, he sat 84-88 while topping out at 90 and mixed in a curveball that sat 70-73 with sharp actions. Very competitive on the mound. The turning point in this game was Gavin Lawrence starting the game with a double down the left field line. Eli Rodell would advance Lawrence to third on our infield single, and then Carter Prina followed up with an RBI single into right field to score the game's only run. A couple guys I like to highlight. RJ Duncan, ISU commit from East Peoria, 2026. He threw a complete game as well, striking out 8 guys, only allowing that 1 run in those 3 runs or those 3 hits in the entire game, and did not walk anybody. Sat 88-91 while topping out at 92. Changeup sat 83-84, and he kept that low. Slider sat 76-78 with sharp actions. Looked really good, really confident. Never got down, just stayed on it, and helped his team, tried to help his team guide through the game. Joe Clark, East Peoria 2025. This is a guy that on the daily roundup, every time we're in the morning, we're writing this stuff. I feel like Joe Clark's name is constantly in the roundup. He went 1 for 2 with a walk and a stolen base. He showed a patient approach as he came back from a 1-2 count to work that walk in the bottom of the second. The most impressive play in the entire game was Clark showing off a cannon of an arm in center when he caught a runner advancing to third after a pickoff attempt that ended up in center field. It was thrown on a rope to third and easily caught the runner. Very impressive stuff and an interesting 2025 that has shown well all season.
Then I'm glad you mentioned him because in the game that I saw, he was as very similar. Like I think he was sitting in the 9 hole, but he was just taking some really, really good at bats. Like he was probably the toughest out in that East Peoria lineup in the game that I saw, and he was facing a really good pitcher when I saw them in Cash Van Houten. Sorry, it was really impressive. And then the same thing, like he had a good arm from the outfield, and I think I might be mixing it up. It might have been Canton center fielder that had a throw out at home, but he showed a good arm, at least an IO or something like that. But yeah, it's good stuff there. All right, and then looking at Tuesday, I was over at Monticello to watch Monticello versus Mount Zion. It was a really just good baseball game, but also I got to see 2 really good pitchers in the game as well. Monticello ultimately won the game 4-3, but the MVP of the game was DH Hayden Romano. He hit a walk-off single in the bottom of the 7th on an RBI single up the middle of the field to win that game 4-3. The turning point of the game, I would say the Sages were down 3-0. Monticello scored 2 runs in the bottom of the fifth on a pass ball and an RBI ground out from Eli Kraft to cut the Zion lead to 1. And then in the bottom of the sixth, still down 1, they scored 2 runs, and the game-leading run coming from an RBI single from shortstop Dawson Geistros. He's a 2027. And then obviously they ended up winning that game 4-3, like I mentioned. But prospect spotlight, I talked about a couple weeks ago. Ike Young, he was up to 95 in this look, but kind of wanted to give love to somebody else because he had Ike Young also had a good outing, and it was a good look at him. But Andrew Tay, Mount Zion 2025 Southeastern Community College commit, 6'2", 197-pound frame. I really liked the mover on the mound. It's really easy, pretty simple. He was up to 93 3 times. He was shown a swing and miss curveball at like 78 to 81, and then he had threw one changeup at like 81 miles an hour with fade. His velo held throughout. It was mostly 85 to 88, and then obviously sprinkled in a couple of 90s throughout. But the velo was the same throughout the entire outing. I was veloing through the fourth or fifth inning, I believe. But no, I was really impressed. I think he's going to be really good in college. I think Southeastern will be a good fit for him to kind of develop, and I'm curious to see what happens with him and how he does and how he performs at Southeastern, but then obviously moving forward after that too. But good stuff there from Andrew Tay. And like I said, Ike Young was good too, up to 95. It was a tick higher than what I saw the previous outing from him. But he was mostly like 91, 93 early, and I think he kind of settled around 88 to 91, 92. But yeah, that was a good game. Probably one of my favorite, like, most nail-biter games that I've seen throughout the year so far. So good stuff there over at Monticello.
Yeah, that Ike Young video looked special. Just the way it moves and the fastball and the slider. I mean, that kid is really, 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 really interesting. But I can hop in here.
Just to add, it's impressive too that like he's a 3-sport athlete, plays football. He just got done playing basketball. I mean, I guess it's May now, but it's been a few months. But still, like the fact that he's up to 95 and he was playing 3 sports, like it's crazy.
I mean, it's not surprising. He's like super bouncy, and he can like windmill dunk, right?
Yeah,
he can definitely dunk. He
that
can
was
definitely
the
dunk. I know that.
So I don't know. It was a couple weeks ago, maybe on his Instagram story. He posted a video because I think we were tagging him in a video on Instagram, so we were looking through his Instagram, and he had like a video of him. It was a 360 dunk, and it's just like he's just an athlete. It's crazy.
I can hop in here. So I went down to Edwardsville on Tuesday, and I caught them versus Alton. And Edwardsville won that one, 13-8. So I got a few MVPs here. I think the real MVP of the game, like overarching, is actually Alex Pilger from Alton. He went 3 for 4 with a double and 5 RBI. So he had 5 of the 8 runs driven in for Alton. But for Edwardsville, I'm going to go with their MVPs are Tyler Powell. He went 3 for 4 with 3 doubles. He was all over the barrel. He's more known as like a pitcher, obviously, going SIUE, but I was pretty in on the bet. It was really interesting. But he had an RBI and 2 runs scored. And then Logan Porter, he went 3 for 4 with a triple and 2 RBIs and 2 runs scored. So a couple good lines there. And then the turning point in this one, though, it was kind of just the bottom of the first inning, really. The Tigers, they got out to a quick 5-0 lead, and really that ended up being the difference. Joe Shiroto, an Alabama commit, he was starting on the mound as well, but him and Augie Johns, they both had RBI singles. They made it 2-0 at the time, and then back-to-back doubles from Tyler Powell, and then Grayson Rathgeb made it 5-0. My prospect spotlights in this one, I've got to go Joe Shiroto for one. He was, like I said, he started on the mound, 89 to 91, good curveball, good slider, kind of what we're used to seeing. But positionally, I mean, he is tooled up, and he wasn't playing the outfield, but we've seen it. He's super interesting. He can run, he can throw, he can go get it in the outfield, and the bat to ball is really good as well. I think he's an interesting prospect as a position player as well, and like one of the things about him, like the bat to ball is really good, but he gets good swings off a lot, and it's just always like he's always hitting in front of us as well. So he's just one that I've long been a fan of, and he just keeps doing it. And then for Alton, Anderson Kaufman, we were just talking about him. He got the start for them in a big conference matchup. So I mean, being a freshman, facing that lineup in a conference setting and in that atmosphere, man, I just thinking back, like I don't know how I would have handled myself, but like that kid just oozes confidence, man. Like I was watching him in the dugout before the game, and he kind of peeked over and he saw me, and he just gave like one of those like nods, like let's go, man. Like PBR's here, like I'm gonna show out. Like I was just like all in on that, like super confident. I just love the kid, and man, he was 85 to 87 with a good curveball, a good changeup. I mean, it's 3 pitches for strikes. He's mature. It's holy crap! My cat just jumped on the table. Um, I don't know if you saw that shake. I'm gonna start over for a second. But it was 85 to 87. Good curveball, good changeup. He's mature beyond his years. Just the overall polish and 3 pitches for strikes. Just the way he handles himself, man. I'm a big fan. It's a bouncy mover too. Like there's just a lot going on there that I like. And he's a good little position player too. He can catch and he can hit a little bit. He's hitting in their 7 or 8 hole. So, I mean, just a good all-around look at both of those guys. And there's a lot of prospects on this team. So I published quite a bit of names in the scout blog from that one. So go check that out if you're interested.
Yeah, and then also on Tuesday, I actually went over to Sandburg, watched some like Orland Park versus Tinley Park conference rivalry action. It was Sandburg against Andrew. Andrew won 8-4. MVP for me for this one is left-handed pitcher Danny Moss, who's an uncommitted 2026, which also kind of goes into my turning point. But Moss tossed 6 scoreless innings in relief, allowed just 2 hits, 2 walks, and struck out 4 in the game. And really, he was the turning point in this one. Sandburg got out to a quick 4-0 lead in the bottom of the first and chased the Andrew starter out of the game. And then that very next inning, Moss comes in and just shuts down Sandburg for the rest of the game, which really allowed Andrew to come back, take the pressure off their offense because he was just putting up 0 after 0 after 0. But more on Moss, it's a pitchability left-hander. He threw all 3 pitches for strikes. It's nothing overpowering right now, but, he was 80 to 82 at the fastball, but it's got, like, that true sink to it. Really liked his changeup. Had a ton of fade to it at 70 to 71, and then was tossing in a short breaking ball as well to just kind of keep hitters off those 2 pitches primarily, but really liked his game overall, and, big-time performance from him out of the pen, which helped Andrew get that conference victory, but prospect highlight for me is I want to touch on a couple guys here. First one being catcher Nolan Kendall, a 2026 uncommitted for Andrew. The guy actually catching Moss, thought he showed really well on both sides of the ball. Bad side of the leadoff spot for Andrew. Left-handed hitter was all over the barrel. Like his first 2 at-bats, like lined out to center. Then he got a line drive single to right. And then his very last at-bat lines out to right. But he was just all over the barrel. Everything he was hitting it hard. And behind the plate, like, showed me some real leadership behind the plate. Like, really liked how he handled himself. Very composed back there. Got to be a steady presence for all those Andrew arms, I would think. So, overall, just also really liked how he received the ball, too. Big fan of Nolan. His brother, Caden Kendall, was playing shortstop. Thought he had a good game. He's a big-time arm for Andrew as well, and it's really easy to see why. Like, when you watch him play short, like, his arm can play from anywhere on the left side of the infield. Very strong arm. He was accurate. So I thought he had a good game as well. And then also want to touch on Quinn Durkin out of Sandburg. Now, this is a guy I know we've touched on before. Has really performed for Sandburg all season. He's a 2-sport guy, actually plays running back for Sandburg in the fall, and that speed certainly translates on the field. He's a left-handed hitter. Item clocked at a 4.2 down the line and then a 4.22 down the line. So pretty crazy foot speed, and it's easy as well. So just really liked his game. Wasn't rewarded in the stat sheet, but all sorts of athleticism from Quinn, and that's what I got from Tuesday.
Yeah, and then moving over to Wednesday, obviously some bad weather, but just quickly, I was over in Sherrard to catch an inning of the Sherrard and Rockridge game. It was like it was 9 runs scored in the first inning by both teams. Rockridge put up 4 runs in the top half of the first, and then in the bottom half, Sherrard scored 5 runs. So a lot of runs scored, but yeah, the game ended up getting banged after the first inning because of mound conditions. It was kind of rainy. Just not a great day for baseball all around the state, I think. But that's what I got on Wednesday's games. And then Dane, I know you were over to see some more Central Illinois action on Thursday. So what do you got from that?
Yeah, Thursday was another day that was very rainy in this area. But there was one game that happened on Thursday night, which was Morton versus Illinois Valley Central. Morton came away with a 2-0 victory. The MVP in this game was Colin Burns, who threw a complete game shutout, 5 strikeouts while allowing 5 hits and 2 walks. He sat 81-83 with arm side run, changeup set 77-78 that he kept low. Curveball sat 71-72 with 11-5 shape with depth. He also picked off a runner twice at second base, including one that ended the inning and got him out of his little jam. 2026, that's very interesting. Also hits, and a very interesting player to keep an eye on. Turning point in this game, Morton got the scoring going early as they scored the first run off of an error by the shortstop in the bottom of the first, and then they scored their second run in the bottom of the second with a sac fly from Camden Taylor to left field. A couple guys to keep an eye on. Gabe Perez for IVC started on the other side of the mound. He sat 83-86 while topping out at 87. The big pitch for him was his slider that sat 73-74. That got plenty of horizontal movement and that got a lot of swings and misses. That pitch was very filthy all game long. He would use it in any count. Very confident with that pitch. He also flashed a changeup that sat 78-80. Struck out 8 batters through 5 1/3 innings, while not allowing an earned run. Another guy to keep an eye on was Brendan Coventry, their catcher for IVC. 2025 SWIC commit, went 2 for 3 with a double. Was all over the barrel. Smooth receiver behind the plate with a strong arm. Really liked what I saw from him as well.
Yeah, and then moving over to Friday, Hammett and Def. I know you guys both saw games, and then Saturday as well, if you guys want to just roll.
Yeah, I can hop in here. I went over and I caught the Oak Park River Forest and Fenwick crosstown rivalry matchup over at Triton. That game's always a blast. It just kind of speaks to like how many people go that they have to have it at Triton, because Campbell literally told me that like they can't have it at their schools, like they can't hold that many people. So it was absolutely packed. It was a great atmosphere. Shout out to Coach Campbell. He always takes great care of me and us. Like he blocked off a whole section behind the plate for PBR and for scouts, so that was super clutch. And got there early, caught some BP, so that was really good to see as well. But my MVP for this one, it's got to be Brady Green. He was 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored, a walk, and he actually delivered the walk-off single that sent OPRF home victorious in that one. So the turning point has got to be the walk-off, obviously, but kind of setting it up in the bottom of the 7th, Xavier Martin, he came in. He had a huge double down the line, scored Peter Farron, who walked to lead off the inning, he was hit by a pitch. So that brought it within 1. And then Brady Green came up, and he had a 2 RBI single to walk it off. It was electric. Everyone was going crazy. That game's always a blast. That's probably got to be a must-see for us each year now, I would think. Just like the atmosphere is always electric. And it's always, Oak Park River Forest, they're always a team that has, studs running through that school, and it's always great to see Fenwick as well. They got studs rolling through those doors as well. But my prospect spotlight here was Darren Law. He came out of the pen for OPRF, struck out the side, and it was an electric, dynamic look. He was up to 87 with a wipeout slider. It's long levered and it's loose, and he was throwing strikes, didn't walk anybody, was all over the zone. It was a really impressive look. He's kind of turning into their closer a little bit. And then James Abaldo for Fenwick. I really, really love the actions on the infield. It kind of speaks volumes that he took over shortstop as only a sophomore. Like they got Ryan Lazewski, who is their shortstop. He's at third base now, and it's not a knock on Ryan. It's just like that's how good James is, right? Because Ryan's awesome. He's an awesome defender. He's going to be my prospect of the week. But love the actions. It's swaggy. It's got confidence. I love the approach at the plate. He gets good swings off. He's not scared. He's got a slow heartbeat. Handles himself really well. I'd be remiss to not mention Josh Morgan. just one of the top players in the state. We got him at number 15 in Illinois right now. Also one of the top football players. He's a DB wide receiver. He's got 3 pretty big football offers. I know, Tyler, I don't know if you knew this. He's got one at Penn State. So that speaks volumes.
You just want to fire me up real quick. That's all you're trying to do. I mean, you just made my
volumes. Day. Yeah, I didn't know if you knew that or not, but
it
speaks volumes. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Like, he's legit on the football field and on the baseball field. I mean, really, really looks the part. He's put on noticeable strength to his frame already, in a good way. Like, he's still lean. He's a defensive back, wide receiver. He's got to stay trim and athletic. So, but he's put on good strength. Really, really looks the part in the outfield. Moves around really well. Covers ground. I mean, just typical, like, you can just tell the dude's a wide receiver. Like, just the long strides. Like, covers all sorts of ground. And he's got a ton of raw strength and twitch in that swing as well. He hit a home run to left field. It was a no-doubter in a big moment in the game. So it was awesome. It was an awesome game. I'm still fired up about it. But let's move on to you, Duff. I saw you got a little rivalry matchup as well, huh? St. Charles?
Yeah, Friday night was kind of like, I felt like that was a common theme, was just rivalries. Obviously, you had OPRF Fenwick. We actually had another one of our area scouts out to see Batavia versus Geneva. But yeah, I had St. Charles East versus St. Charles North. It was actually at the Kane County Cougars Stadium, which my first time being over there, what a beautiful ballpark. I can remember Kane County used to be in the Midwest League with actually my hometown Dayton Dragons back in Ohio, and I can remember watching the Dragons play Kane County. Now they're an independent league team, and I mean, what a stadium, what a venue for an indie, just for indie ball in general. But yeah, big time rivalry matchup. It was a true pitcher's duel, like right from the first pitch, which it was kind of billed that way, right? For St. Charles East, Joey Aaron was going, who's a 2025 going to Xavier. And then for St. Charles North, it was Keaton Reinke, who's one of the top uncommitted 2026 arms in the entire state. So, big time pitchers matchup. Joey Aaron is actually going to be my MVP for this game. He was running his fastball 86 to 89, was really commanding a 74 to 76 mile an hour slider arm side. Like, could really backdoor it against those righties, front door it against lefties. But his final line ended up being 5 2/3, 2 hits, 3 walks, 2 runs. Only one of those was earned, and then he punched out 8. So he's my MVP for this one. Turning point was it was 0-0 going to the 6th. Like I said, both pitchers were really just kind of matching each other pitch for pitch. But for St. Charles East, James Fiegelson, who's an uncommitted 2026 and is actually going to be my uncommitted prospect of the week. So, stay tuned. I'll touch more on him later. But he got the scoring started with an RBI single in the top of the 6th, which actually brought home 2 runs. There was an error on the play as well. So, really from there, once that scoring started, I felt like it just kind of broke the tension in the game. And, obviously East didn't look back from there. But St. Charles North actually brought the winning run to the plate in the bottom of the 7th. It ended up, obviously finishing 3-2 with East winning. But, North brought the winning run to the plate, bottom of the 7th. But East held on to win. Prospect highlight, Keaton Reinke. I mean, he just continues to stand out. That was my second time seeing him this spring. Big time football player, common theme there. Hammond, I know you saw Josh Morgan, who's a big time football player. Keaton's just as talented in his own right on the gridiron, it seems. But the frame really stands out. Looks like a wide receiver on the mound in the best way possible. But he was running his fastball 87 to 89, touched 90, held that velo throughout his outing, which to me is really impressive. Had all sorts of command for a curveball. Command isn't a word I really throw around a ton, but he definitely had it with his curveball. Could throw it for strikes, had a ton of confidence in it, which, when I saw him earlier in the spring, granted it's early, right? You're not going to be as polished right from the get-go most of the time, and felt like that pitch has come a long way just in probably the month and a half since I last saw him, but thought he threw the ball really well. The stat sheet's not going to do him any favors. Just, he was on the wrong side of a pitcher's duel, but thought he was really gutsy. Made a ton of big pitches at times. Dylan McCabe, 2027 out of St. Charles East. All sorts of athleticism for a first baseman. Looks to me like he could easily play outfield for the Saints. Now, they probably just don't need him to right now. And it's really impressive, like watching him pregame, the confidence in which he picks stuff. Like, I feel like that's rare for high schoolers, right? Like, could be kind of hit or miss with first baseman defensively, but like he's got to be up there for probably one of the best like defensive first basemen in the entire state, even as a 2027. That's how impressive it is. You watch him bouncing around, just so athletic and very natural over there. Watch him throw across, in IO, they're throwing first baseman throw to third, and like really good arm. Like we know he can pitch as well for St. Charles East. So really like Dylan, left-handed hitter, really looks the part in the box. Very hitterish actions up there. So really like Dylan. So yeah, that's what I got from Friday. Hammond, I can toss it back over to you for what you had Saturday. I know you had a really good game.
Yeah, I caught a little CCL Blue action. Pravi and Mount Carmel, number 13 Pravi. They won that one, 8-5. My MVP, I'm going to go with Nathan O'Donnell, a senior, going to Minnesota. He got the start on the mound, and he swung it all game as well. He had 6 innings, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. The fastball was up to 92, and I thought it was coming out really good. Slider looked really good as well for swing and miss, and throwing a little changeup in there too, around 80 miles an hour. But he also hit a home run in the game to help his own cause. So kind of doing a little bit of everything. I know he's the CCL Blue reigning player of the year. So no surprise there seeing him do that. But turning point in this one, Pravi, they gave up 4 runs. They were up 6-0. They gave up 4 runs, so it was getting a little hairy. Then Declan Kane came in. He hit a 2-run home run to give them a little bit of breathing room in the top of the 7th inning, which would ultimately pay dividends as Mount Carmel would come in the bottom half of the inning. And they were trying to chip away. Anthony Chavez hit a home run, made it 8-5. So it's always nice to have that little breathing room. And I thought that was kind of the main turning point in that game because it was getting a little sketchy in the last bottom half of that inning to end the game there. But my prospect spotlight, I'm going to go with Connor Ellentenney. One of my prospect spotlights, I should say. But Connor Ellentenney, Notre Dame commit. He's a junior, future game standout. Really love the frame on that kid. Like, it looks the part. It's 6'3" with all sorts of upside still left. Really in on the way it moves. A little cleaner than I remember it being. And then he was throwing strikes. It was maybe a little bit effectively wild, but like it was very competitive. It was around the zone. It was up to 90 miles an hour. The slider was really good as well. I just love the upside. I could see that kid throwing 100 someday, and I'm not even lying. Like, just the way it moved in the frame. Big fan of him. And then Enzo Infelice. He was hitting leadoff. He was catching. He's got some of the stupidest arm strength in the state. Just like pure arm strength. Just the way it comes out of the hand going to second base. Like, he was throwing from his knees with ease. Then he came on the mound and was up to 92, sitting 90-92, closing it out with a good breaking ball. So, like we mentioned earlier, the bat to ball with that kid, it's premium, and he's got a ton of strength in the bat as well, a ton of power. Just the fluidity and the confidence he has, that kid, he's easily one of the top bats in the Midwest, and there were some pro guys there. So, you never know what's going to happen there, but he's clearly catching the eyes of the right people.
Yeah, that's great stuff. All sorts of talent, especially when you go see a CCL Blue matchup like that. But I know we kind of touched on this earlier. The ESCC is no more, but after this year. But I actually got to see an ESCC doubleheader Saturday. Went over to Bennett Academy and watched them. They swept Carmel Catholic. With it being a doubleheader, I'm kind of going to treat these 2 games just a little different. I think I'm just going to focus more on prospects I want to touch on. But real quick, in the first game, Bennett walked off Carmel Catholic 6-5, and how they do it, they actually flip who's home and away in the second game. So Carmel Catholic ended up being the home team, even though it's an away game for them in that second game. But Bennett ended up winning the second game 8-3. In the first game, Quinn Rooney hit a walk-off sacrifice fly. He's an uncommitted 2027 left-handed hitter. I know we really like him on the mound as well. Another guy that I want to say that was the Lockport preseason ID, where he showed really well for us. But Physical left-handed hitter. Thought he was on the barrel multiple times, and just really liked the look in the box. Luke Wilds, a 2025 out of Bennett, going to St. John's River College. Very physical-looking left-handed hitter. He showed us some tools in the past as well. I want to say that was the Chicago Summer ID he was at last summer. Put up a bunch of really good numbers at that event, and really showed well. Absolutely juiced a 3-run homer game 2, which really propelled Bennett to just kind of coast for the rest of that second game. Merrick Sullivan, 2025 out of Bennett. He's going to Ithaca, so shout out to my D3 king there. But leadoff hitter for Bennett, on base machine. I want to say he had like 3 hits the second game, and maybe 1 or 2 in the first game. But right-handed hitter, had some real feel to hit. And then a couple arms I want to touch on here. For Bennett, Tristan Lakis, 2025 going to Webster. Started the second game, threw really well. Had a shot to go for the complete game. They sent him back out there in the 7th, but ended up finishing with 6 1/3, but threw the ball really well. Low 80s arm, was touching 85 for us. But thought he mixed stuff up well, threw the ball really well for Bennett. And then Emerson Larson, he actually started game 1 for Carmel Catholic. He's an uncommitted 2026. Schools need to go see, but very physically imposing frame. Thought he threw the ball really well. It was a pretty gutsy performance. Had to work through some trouble on the base paths, but thought he handled himself well on the mound. He was 85 to 87, touching 88 for us, and he held that velo throughout the game. So, it's a type of frame that can handle that type of velocity and hold it throughout his outing. Thought he battled, was throwing in a changeup, mixing a short little breaking ball sparingly, but a guy I was impressed with. I know he's been having a heck of a year for Carmel Catholic over there, so that's what I got there. I know the CSCC is going to transition to not being a thing, but Carmel Catholic's a pretty young squad and a team I think we're going to have to pay attention to for the coming years.
And Tyler, just to hop in here, because I know you were trying to figure out where Quinn Rooney went this winter, where we saw him, and it was the preseason All-State underclass is kind of where he came out, and he was up to 87, and then obviously with those levers and everything, it's really, really interesting, but just wanted to get that correct because I would want it the same way if it were me saying it.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
You got it.
All right, and then I went to a doubleheader as well on Saturday in Normal. I watched Normal Community host Moline. In the first game, I got to see Normal Community win 3-0. Gavin Schwartz threw complete game shutout, while striking out 12 batters and only allowing 4 hits. He sat 89-91 with arm side run. Slider set 77-79 with sharp action, and he mixed in a changeup that sat 82-83 in the later at bats. Very dominant stuff. Really like what I was seeing from him. The turning point in this game was Drew Stevens driving in the first run of the game with an RBI single in the bottom of the 3rd. And then in the bottom of the 5th, Max Heineman drove in the second run of the game with an RBI single of his own. And then Stevens followed up with an RBI double, which would make it 3-0 for his second run of the game. And the second game was not another shutout. It was a 12-5 win for Normal Community. MVPs of this game, I couldn't decide between Max Heineman, who was Illinois Chicago commit 2026, and Drew Stevens, who was a Valparaiso 2026 commit. Heineman went 4 for 5 with 2 doubles, a triple, 3 RBIs, and 3 runs. And then Stevens went 2 for 4 with a home run, 4 RBIs, and a run. This is their 3-4 hitters, and they were just smashing in both games. The turning point in this game was a 5-run bottom second that Normal Community had that would put them up for the remainder of the game. A pass ball put the Ironman in the lead, and then Max Heineman followed up with a 2-run double into left field. Stevens would drive in his first run of the game, with a grounder to shortstop. And then Gavin Michaels, Cincinnati commit, 2026, drilled a line drive over the shortstop's head for an RBI single. 5 runs in that inning, put them up for good. Really liked what we're seeing there from their 3 through 5 hitters, Heineman, Stevens, and Cincinnati, and Michaels. These were all 2026 commits already. Just dominant stuff. I mean, Heineman and Stevens are their catching duo, and that might be the best catching duo in the state. One catches, the other plays first, and they flip every other game. So some really good stuff from both of them. A couple prospects I'd like to highlight is Nolan Dunsey from Moline, catcher slash first baseman. Very similar. He caught in the first game, played first in the second game. He went 2 for 3 with 2 doubles while driving in 2 runs in the second game of the doubleheader. Showed quality bat-to-ball abilities with a gap-to-gap approach, leader behind the plate. Another guy to keep an eye on is 2027 Lucas Beatty from Normal Community. Struck out 4 batters through 4 innings in the second game of the doubleheader while allowing only 1 run. Sat low 80s with a low 70s breaking ball. He went 1 for 3 at the plate in the first game while starting at third. He's just an athletic mover that I think we need to keep an eye on as we go forward.